Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good day everyone, and thank you for joining us online for this webinar on maximizing the customer experience in a secure open banking ecosystem. Our webinar today is hosted by Marc-André Dumont, Crealogix Switzerland's Head of Product Digital Banking, and Claudius van der Meulen, Entersekt's SVP Europe. Entersekt and Crealogix have been partners in the digital security space from 2016 and have worked together to solve some of the major challenges our industry faces today in the mobile security and authentication space. Today will be a brief discussion focusing on how financial institutions can overcome these problems using a brief demo and several use cases to illustrate. I now hand over to Marc-André. Thank you and welcome.
Hello and welcome from my part too to this webinar. Proud to present our solution in the field of authentication that we developed together with Entersekt as Crealogix, as one of the most fintech companies in the world. So why is there a need to talk about security and authentication methods right now? First, we have a change in the user behavior with the broad adoption of smartphones and mobile computing. The expectations of the users towards security solutions has significantly changed. Also, the fintech industry is facing new regulations, concretely with PSD2 in the European Union, with implications towards authentication. PSD2 is explicitly prescribing strong authentication. This is has to be seen also in the terms of the transformation of the whole financing industry towards open banking solutions, where you have to integrate to be open but still maintain your security, protect your data. Last but not least, there is an increased fraud seen in the market as well. So banks need to increase their efforts to protect the assets of their customers. So all this together leads to the situation that we need to talk about strong authentication and how we can improve together what Entersekt and Crealogix can offer to you to enhance strong authentication. We'd like to demonstrate how you can easily include our solution in your existing ecosystem. There are already quite a few very secure solutions on the market. As Crealogix, we developed a security device called Sentinel display that you see on this image here, consisting of a hardware device attached via cable to the USB port of the computer, having a secure browser inside, and using totally independent channel for the user input for the login code for the TAN input. It's the most secure solution still that you can imagine, but it's somehow outdated, as it's obvious you cannot use it on mobile devices, you cannot do mobile banking with it, and was hard to support it because with USB and wire scan engine struggling with that software that is highly protected, and user that had to fiddle with these cables and ports and procedures. It was too costly, too complicated. In a nutshell, a bad user experience. Perfect security, bad user experience. So it is not a good solution for today's needs. So then what are the characteristics of a good security solution? First of all, it needs to provide a good user experience today. to be accepted by the user. So it has to be easy to use. It has to base on known and adopted principles, using fingerprint, Face ID, for example, or use known login or authentication flows. And while doing this, still has to be seen as a security measure, so that the user sees there is some security built in. For the bank, it has to be easy to distribute, has to be low in support, and of course also efficient for the implementation and operation of it. In regards to security, it's important that security does not rely on user, but on technical measures only. So I mentioned the user's perception of security. Here you have 3 examples, all implemented, provided by Crealogix. Different means to do a mobile login. You can have username, password, rather old-fashioned, but well-known principle for an authentication. Or you can use biometrics as fingerprint. Or you can, our new push-button solution, where you just can accept a login request. So the important question is, which has the better user experience? Is it more on the side of well-known principles? Is it more on the side of comfort? In regards to security, the user cannot tell which one is better than the other. And in fact, in the background, it's all the same in these cases. And as well as it is in these examples, the user cannot tell which implementation by which provider is better. But in the background, they may be totally different. So let's have a look on the details of our implementation. So what we provide with our push-button solution is based on 3 elements. It's a secure mobile application, it's an authentication server, and it's the Entersekt Transact Secure Gateway. These 3 elements can be run together independently of the business application and just attached to that. We even provide it as a SaaS solution, so implementation and connection to existing systems is really easy and straightforward. Let's just quickly talk about the secure application, as this is one of the cornerstones of the solution and the part that the user can see and deal with it. The Crealogix mobile application is a hardened application. It's a platform where you can include any business application you want to run inside. So it's a container providing built-in security and also already built in the authentication solutions of Crealogix. And you just can include, integrate any other application you want to have. As a result, as a financial institution, you only need one app for all the purposes of your business. This is quite unique, we think, and results in a better user experience and easier communication for the user with the financial institution. So currently, with our implementation, we covered the following use cases. Desktop authentication. The user logs in into a desktop digital banking session and receives the TAN on his smartphone. We have mobile authentication, where the user does mobile banking and the authentication request in the same app. And we have, for both cases, also the transaction authorization. We prepared a video to demonstrate these use cases. The user interaction as well as what is happening in the background. Let's show it right away.
Push-down authentication from Crealogix. Simple, secure, and fast. For smartphones, as well as desktops. Of course, PSD2 compliant. Everything in just one app. No need to download anything else or use additional TAN devices. When using a desktop, simply log in, compare the TAN, and then confirm. Input the bank transfer details, confirm, and you're done. Straightforward for the user, yes, but what's going on behind the interface? The login request made from the desktop computer is transmitted via a secure tunnel to the digital banking server. From here, a message is sent via the authentication server, which later reaches the user's smartphone. The Entersekt software routes the message to the right address, where it's finally pushed to the mobile device. If the user unlocks the smartphone, a new request is made to the digital banking server via the secure tunnel. In the authentication server, which like the digital banking server is located locally in the corresponding bank infrastructure, the TAN is generated and encrypted for its journey. Once again, a secure tunnel is created, through which the TAN sets off on its way. The data between the software components of Entersekt is then protected by a second tunnel. At the same time, the secure tunnel between the digital banking server and desktop machine is used to display the TAN. Once the information has reached the mobile device, it's decrypted and shown to the user. The user compares the TAN and confirms it. The confirmation makes its way back to the authentication server, where it is approved and transmitted to the desktop device. The user can now make the bank transfer using the browser. Once they've entered the relevant data, the request is sent via a secure tunnel to the digital banking and authentication servers. The server now asks for a confirmation. The corresponding request is sent to the user's smartphone via the second secure tunnel. Once the user confirms, the digital banking server is notified accordingly and then initiates the bank transfer. Secure digital banking has never been so easy. Naturally, the entire Crealogix push-TAN process can be carried out on a mobile device. Even here, the entire information exchange between the bank and mobile device is safeguarded by data tunnels. Additional encryption ensures the best security that modern online banking can offer. Simple to use, complex in functionality. Push-TAN authentication from Crealogix. Simple, secure, and fast.
Thank you for watching the video. Hope you got a good impression now how this solution is working and can support your business. Now let's hand over to Claudius from Entersekt, showing what the Entersekt infrastructure in the background has to offer more and what other use cases can be covered.
So thank you, Marc-André, for the introduction and the overview of the Crealogix banking solution and specifically the authentication solution that we built together. Maybe I start off with a few words on Entersekt. Entersekt builds a solution for mobile security from financial institutions. The mobile device has evolved from being something we make phone calls on to being the remote control for digital lives. It has become the dominant channel for personal digital interaction and engagement. Ordering a ride with Uber, listening to music on Spotify, online shopping, mobile banking, all from the palm of our hands. When Entersekt started, mobile first was one of our solution design principles. From scratch up, our developers built the Entersekt Transact solution with 4 basic design principles. The mobile first, we put authentication in the palm of your hand, following enhanced customer experience principles, allowing for a smooth anytime, anywhere user experience. The closed loop encrypted channel, potentially enforced with biometrics and/or a PIN, then provides maximum security. And the fourth principle is that we follow global and local regulatory requirements to make sure that our customers are and remain compliant. This leads to one of the unique features of Transact, the completely isolated encrypted channel, the orange channel in this picture, and also in one of Mark's pictures where he showed the completely separated channel where the secured communication is transmitted across. This isolated channel creates a secure tunnel from inside the bank to the SDK inside the banking app. This feature then makes it possible to initiate and second-factor approve transactions from within one app, for example, a Crealogix banking app. But eventually, the blue line can do anything, from the basic classic use cases like mobile and online banking interactions, but eventually any other customer engagement that requires any level of security. The combination of identification, integrity, and security in an isolated encrypted channel builds a platform that allows for many new use cases to be built on top of that. As the focus of Entersekt is to make that second channel the center of the security architecture, that allows the primary channel to focus on innovation as security is by default in place. Engagements with customers on any channel, whether it is a call center, notifications, a shopping experience, or in-branch engagement, can now be trusted from the start, so the bank can focus on customer experience and innovation. Now, to show you some of these innovations that become possible by creating that separate encrypted connection, I have prepared some use cases to show you. The first use case I would like to share with you is the classic online banking authentication use case, a use case that Marc-André also showed in one of the previous slides. So in this case, the user selects an account, enters his details to transfer money, and then the authentication is presented on his mobile phone, including dynamic linking required for PSD2. And then the payment is successfully transferred. One of the innovations that become possible is user notifications. So many banks would like to send notifications to their clients in a secure way and make sure that the notifications arrive. SMS is not typically a suitable channel for that because it's not secure and you don't know that the messages arrived, or at least you cannot prove that the messages have arrived. With the notifications feature that Crealogix and Entersekt built together, as a bank you can send notifications to a customer that allow you to prove that the notifications have arrived on the phone. Customers can see the notifications as a timeline on their mobile phone inside the app. Then on top of that, we can send user notifications with a call to action. In this case, you will see that the bank has sent a message to the client. The client logs into his mobile phone, and at that point, the client can see that he's almost at his limit of the card and gets a call of action to transfer funds into the credit card account. So another use case that becomes possible is doing call center authentication. Typically what happens when a client calls the bank is you arrive in a menu where you need to enter numbers to get to certain menu items. At that point in time, the bank can also do an authentication using the Transact solution. By doing so, it is not really interfering with the flow of the phone call. And once that has been concluded, the call center agent gets authenticated person on the phone. So that concludes an overview of some of the innovative use cases that become possible when you use the Crealogix Entersekt solution. I would now like to show you a couple of new onboarding mechanisms that become possible. The first one is scanning of a card. So onboarding could potentially be done by scanning a card and entering the card PIN on the phone. The PIN is then validated in the back, and once that is validated, the user is authenticated and the app is enrolled. A second a second onboarding mechanism could be using the ATM as an onboarding mechanism. In that case, the client goes to an ATM, enters his card into the slot, and enters the PIN. You will see that there's an additional option to activate mobile app. That obviously requires integration with the ATM provider, after which the QR code is presented and the user can scan and enroll using that mechanism. Thank you for your attention, and we would like to open up for questions.
So let me see if there are people who have questions. Yeah, I see that I have one question, and maybe that's a question you can answer, Marc-André. What is someone's asking? What is the typical lead time for implementation of a project like this?
It's quite easy because we have it as a SaaS solution, so the whole infrastructure is in place, and we just need to make the connection to the business system. APIs, and the business application needs to connect to these APIs. So it's short.
Sounds good. And another question that I see is, does the solution integrate in existing banking apps?
Well, in the case of Crealogix, yes, of course. We have it live since several years, and it's part of our solution. And also, we can use these components to integrate with other systems as well. So yes, this is possible.
Thank you. One other question, is the solution PSD2 compliant? We already discussed that during the webinar, but to reiterate that, yes, the solution is PSD2 compliant for strong customer authentication and provides dynamic linking. That's one of the requirements in the PSD2 regulation, because we can show the details of a transaction in the authentication request. And we have also asked SRC Security Research and Consulting to look at that, and they confirmed that the solution is PSD2 compliant. So that helps banks to become compliant in a very easy and quick manner. I don't see any new questions coming in. So then if there are no further questions, then I will wrap up this webinar, and thank you for your attention and being part of this webinar. Anything from you for closure, Marc-André?
Same. Thank you very much to have you here, and you have the addresses. If there are further questions, please see with Entersekt or Crealogix. Thank you.
Thank you.